And you are listening to Ask the Experts radio show on Talk Radio 1190. I'm John Wolf, and I have with me Roger Wakefield, the owner-operator of Texas Green Plumbing. How are you this morning, Roger?
I'm doing great, John. How have you been doing?
Great. And with weather like this, it would be hard to not feel great.
Like we were talking about earlier, this is a great day to open the windows, open the blinds, let the light come in, let the fresh air come in, and have a great day.
And you could work on some plumbing at the same time, couldn't you?
That's a nice do-it-yourself project that's pretty easy for people to do.
That's right. I have a neighbor who always says he's always working on something and not major jobs. He says if you just work on it a little bit at a time, a little bit every week, you can stay ahead of a lot of the big problems.
I'm normally pretty far behind on all my big problems.
You?
Absolutely.
You should find a good plumber.
The plumbing's pretty easy to take care of. It's getting everything else taken care of where I get behind.
Well, at this time of the year, what sort of things would you tell people as we head through this into the spring that they should be looking out for, looking to get ahead of?
Just taking care of the little details. If you've got a faucet dripping, if you've got something that needs to be replaced, general maintenance is great. This is a good time to do it, like a great day to do it. You're supposed to flush your water heater annually, and these are the kind of days I recommend doing it. Get out there, get you a 5-gallon bucket, flush it out, do different things. There's so much people can do that can help their plumbing system. That's just one good one, one really big one.
So not to wait for a problem, but to do preventative maintenance, you're saying?
A lot of people wait till, say, their water heater. A lot of people wait till the water heater is leaking to say, oh, gosh, I have a water heater problem. Well, the truth is, if they'll take care of it every year, flush it every year, they can help eliminate that from happening or keep it from happening, sooner. Water heaters are built to last 6 to 8 years, somewhere around in there. A water heater repair is a very expensive thing. Replacing a water heater or getting a new water heater can be a very expensive thing also. But these are all things really that pretty much any homeowner can do if they know how.
Okay, now I'm thinking of a water heater I have, which is in the garage, fortunately, and the garage slants very slightly, but it does slant down and out. And I'm happy for that. Not that I had a leak, but if there were one, I'm not worried about a major expense. Just some papers on the side of the garage would get flooded. But what if somebody has one of the upstairs water heaters?
Well, an upstairs water heater can be changed out too. I mean, whether they do it or whether a plumber does it, it's going to get done. So they can have a friend come over and help them disconnect it, drain it, lower it down out of the attic or out of the upstairs closet, whatever the case may be. And we're going to have somebody come help us too. It's not just going to be a one-man job trying to get a water heater out of an attic or whatnot.
Well, I'm not thinking out of the attic so much as just doing the yearly maintenance, the draining of it, so it'll live longer, last longer. If you have one upstairs and you haven't done it before, and you don't want to have a major flood in an upper floor of your house.
Number one, if you've had the water heater for a long time, you don't want to go in today and say, okay, look, I'm going to flush it out. They've got an anode rod in there that releases magnesium to help fill maybe little pinholes or microscopic cracks in it. And if you decide to go in now and flush it out, say you've had it 4 or 5 years, you've never flushed it, and you go and flush it now, you're liable to pull out enough calcium and magnesium that you actually open up one of those cracks or pinholes. Normally what we recommend to people when they get a new water heater, flush it every year. If you've had one for a couple of years and you've never flushed it, go ahead and flush it. And the proper way to flush it is hook a water hose up to it down at the bottom, run the end of it, and I tell people either run it into a bathtub if it's upstairs, or if it's downstairs in your garage, run it out to the driveway or out to the street and open it up while the water is still on to the water heater, because that's going to let fresh water in and it's going to give you pressure to blow that out. And a lot of times people will actually run that into a 5-gallon bucket. Open the valve, let it run, about 4.5 gallons, shut it off, go pour that out. But look at everything that you've got in there. The gunk that comes out is really calcium, magnesium, minerals, and deposits in the water that build up over time.
What color would you expect that water to be that comes out?
Water, calcium and magnesium can start causing discoloration, which is what causes sometimes people say they have brown water, the water's starting to get brown. Normally that's through the hot water side. So getting all that out will help keep your water clean and pure also.
I get so enthused when you come in here because, frankly, I'm trying to pick your brain so I can learn a little bit that might save me some trouble, but I zipped right past giving the information. Our number here is 214-787-1190, 214-787-1190, and Roger Wakefield's number is 972-442-4101. That's 972-442-4101, or easier to remember if you're driving, especially TexasGreenPlumbing.com, TexasGreenPlumbing.com. Now, of the emergency situations involving water heaters that you've had to deal with, any idea what percentage of people had never done this annual flooding as I raise my hand?
Most people don't do it. I actually used to teach plumbers continuing education, and I'd have classrooms with 45 plumbers in it, or 43 plumbers in it. And I'd always ask, especially whenever we had chapters that were talking about water heaters, how many of y'all actually flush your water heaters? And out of a class that size, you'd get one or two plumbers that I flush mine every month, every year, whatever it is. Every year's the minimum. If you really want a water heater to last a long time, go out every couple of months, flush out about 5 gallons of water out of the bottom of it. You can make that water heater or help that water heater to last a lot longer.
It's like fiber for your body, fiber for your water heater.
Absolutely.
Keep it going. Now, are there jobs that you've seen, maybe emergency situations, maybe not quite that deep, that where people have they've gotten gung-ho and they said, oh, I could do this. I don't mean necessarily with draining a water heater, just anything else around the house that maybe they shouldn't have tackled as a novice on their own?
The biggest problems, the good thing is plumbing repairs are relatively easy to do. And it's easy for me to say because I've got 38 years experience doing it. Some of the most important things to remember are look at your path of water. What is your flow path? Can you shut off a valve under the sink to where you can take that sink apart, that faucet apart, and do the repairs on it? If the valve's not working properly, go out to the street. Like I said, plumbing repairs aren't difficult as long as you stop the water flow to where you've got time to make the plumbing repair. You've got time to use the right part. Some homeowners just think, okay, my faucet's dripping, I'll take apart the handle and change the washer. Well, unfortunately, if you take apart that handle and the water's still on, you're going to get water everywhere. So that is the main thing. Keep an eye on your water.
And one of the key things I've found in trying some plumbing jobs, and I'm far from an expert, is just having someone else there to help, because the time it would take you to run from your faucet upstairs, if you've made a mistake or thought something was fixed and you've done everything right, almost, and now you've got water running through your bathroom, to get out to the street is a lot longer and a lot more possible damage than yelling out the window, honey, turn that off now.
A water leak is a very bad thing to have. Water leaks cause damage. When it comes to lessons to teach homeowners, that is probably one of the most important lessons there is. If your wife and children know how to shut the water off, it can save you a lot of money. We've talked about it before. When I was younger, walked in after school one day, stepped around the corner into the living room, which was a converted garage, and it had about a 3-inch drop down, and I stepped down, and I'm standing in 3 inches of water. When I called my mother, she's like, turn the water off. I had no idea how. She didn't have any idea how. So I'm looking around trying to figure out how to turn off the water to the whole house. That is something that, as a homeowner, I would want to make sure that my wife knew, my children knew, and don't just tell them. Go outside and show them. You've got a valve out in front of your house, or you've got a valve at the valve box. The new houses that we're building in Dallas these days have the water line come in, they come up in the garage, and there's a valve in the garage wall where you just open a door on an access panel and turn off the valve.
Now, you're explaining everything very well, very succinctly, but I have to tell the listeners that you're so expressive with your hands and giving little clues, and we are videotaping here, so you can go to the website at TexasGreenPlumbing.com, TexasGreenPlumbing.com, and be able to actually watch you, not at this second from what you're doing, but from previous occasions and in the future, pointing directions out that might be just a little bit more helpful even than just hearing.
And not just the website. The best thing really would probably be go to our YouTube channel. what we are doing, when it comes to plumbing repairs, it's easy for me to sit here and try and tell you what to do
Cheap.
and the steps to go through. On our YouTube channel, we're actually putting videos together to where we can come in and teach people how to do a lot of these things. And that's a really good spot to see it.
Absolutely. I know it's given me courage at times. And I think that's a lot of that's a big part of it, is just having the courage to say, I'm going to try this. Because let's face it, it's not cheap to have a plumber come out compared to being able to do it yourself. Little riskier to do it yourself, but that doesn't mean that no guts, no glory, that you shouldn't try it. Because I'll tell you, as a person who never owned a home before, I felt fantastic when I actually just changed faucets or fixed the toilet or whatever. We're going to talk about more about installing toilets and having to make changes and such when we come. Again, we are listening to Ask the Experts radio show with Roger Wakefield, the owner-operator of Texas Green Plumbing. And TexasGreenPlumbing.com is the website. But again, as Roger just mentioned, they've got a YouTube channel. And to see somebody actually do the job rather than just tell you about it at a box store, yeah, just put that doohickey in there and twist it, you can't have a problem, is just so helpful. It's like having someone else come do it one time and showing you.
What I like about it is if I can show people how to do repairs like that, I can save them money. That's important for us.
Everybody likes that. We'll be right back on Talk Radio 1190.